Hi, I'm JimmyNavio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am JimmyNavio, and you have stumbled into my bucket. This is our little podcast that we do here called Hit the Bucket. This is episode number 35, and I'm very excited to have another member of Clever Nation with us today. We're going to bring him on shortly. I see a lot of people here in chat from his community. Welcome. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Before we bring them on, though, I like to take care of a few business shits. So if you don't mind, reminder to anyone out there listening on your podcast app or Spotify, this is being recorded live on Twitch at twitch.tv/JimmyNavio. If you're listening and you're like, hey, I want to go be in chat, I want to go see what's going on and ask these guys a question, join us. It's every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific. We also have a YouTube channel at youtube.com/JimmyNavio. We have a playlist with all of our episodes. If you're listening and you're like, what are they watching right now? We got Chiefs Beef, we play clips, all that stuff. You can go watch them on YouTube. Also, we have an email address if you're interested in being a guest, if you're interested in promotional opportunities, or if you just like the cut of my jib, you're free to email us. It's hitthebucketpodcast@gmail.com. So that's it. That's all the important stuff. Oh, Jumbotron James is still a thing for all of our regulars. If you want to hear Jumbotron James, if you want to hear James read your message in his deep, sultry, seductive voice, you can submit those. That is active right now still. So feel free. It only costs 1,000 ducats. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on our guest. His name is Larz, L-A-R-Z. That simple. One word. I think he might be the first guest that it's a one syllable, 4 letters, Mr. Larz. Oh, and of course, how could I forget my trusty co-host, James28, is with us as well. So I'm going to go ahead and bring them on. How you guys doing?
Hey there, Jimmy. How's it going?
Good.
Going well.
Mm-hmm.
Having a good old Wednesday.
Yeah.
It is Wednesday, right?
Yeah, it is Wednesday. Yep.
It's
I would
Wednesday.
hope so. That's when we scheduled the podcast.
If it's not Wednesday,
Time traveling, boys.
it would not surprise me though, because last week or for the last 4 or 5 days, I was in Florida, so my whole time schedule's all fucked up. So if it's not Wednesday, it wouldn't surprise me. If for all, it's. So
I would have told everyone the wrong date then.
Yeah, that's why we did the podcast on Tuesday last week, because I had to fly to Florida for my day job. For those visiting, I'm a software developer, so occasionally work gets in the way, and I have to go. They flew me out to Florida to present at some convention. So my first time.
I saw those food pics.
Good food.
Eating sushi on your boss's card.
Absolutely. They were like, yeah, they're like, presentation went really well, conference went really well, we should go out to dinner. And they were like throwing around a bunch of ideas, and I love sushi, and anytime that I can eat sushi on someone else's dollar, because it can get real expensive real fast.
Oh yeah.
And plus it was Florida. It's like right on the coast.
Mhm.
So I was like, sushi? And they were like, yeah, sure, sushi. And yeah, they bought a lot. That was just one plate of like 4 plates, James. So
That's like one meal for me.
for anyone who wants to see, in my Discord, we have an IRL channel. I was posting pictures during my trip, and I took a couple pictures at dinner. So, but enough about me. We'll talk about Florida and all that shit later. The big news is that we have Mr. Larz here.
Mm-hmm.
Our guest, and we're
another member of the Clever Nation.
It's true. We can't seem to. We're gonna get through all of you. I'm still waiting for the full list from that Bishop girl. She keeps throwing names at me, and like your name was actually suggested to me by like 3 different people. I think that
those are 3 people with scary opinions.
I think that Bishop girl mentioned your name once, and then Ogre Magi mentioned your name, and I think Chris might have as well.
Sounds right.
So, yeah. Your name is known far and wide. Larz is pretty lit. doing cancer.
I don't know about that. I don't know about lit. I do things sometimes. Sometimes it's on Twitch.
It's Liddy, bro. So yeah, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself? How long have you been streaming on Twitch?
Well, technically, I have had an account since 2013. Actually, streaming, what I tell people is since like June 2017. That's when I started really streaming. Yeah.
And getting on a regular schedule.
Yeah, I think I had done so when I first got on Twitch, I was actually just watching some YouTubers play League of Legends because that was my livelihood at the time. I just fucking played League all day. So I got onto Twitch just to watch them stream, and I watched a couple other creators as well. And I thought that I would start streaming only to really be able to go back and watch the VODs to check for errors in my play. Essentially, that's what I did. So
it was more for you than like trying to like build an audience or anything.
Yeah, like my roommates, in college, I would try to get them to come and watch, but this was back before affiliate or anything. So like things were way different then, and I had no thoughts of like ever actually taking it anywhere. And then affiliate rolled around in like early 2017, I think is when it became a thing. And I had a couple IRL friends that were they started streaming because they realized this is something that we can we could like get in on and stuff. And I was like, I should give this a shot because I love the feeling of being involved in other like broadcasters communities and like getting to know them. I think that's why a lot of us get into streaming in a lot of ways. And then decided, hey, I could probably try that. So kind of started from there.
Yeah. I caught you playing some Zelda Breath of the Wild. You've been playing that lately.
I hate that game. It's awful.
You hate
it's terrible. I can't stand it, man. No, it's become my new addiction. I fucking love it. It's amazing. I've been having a blast with it. There's so much stuff to do. So many different things.
Too much stuff to do.
Too much, yeah, but in a good way. Like I think so. Back to like when I started streaming back in June, the first game that I really started streaming was The Witcher 3. And I was already like halfway through it and got really engaged in streaming that. And then I realized that I love open world games. Like that's the stuff that I like. That's my bread and butter. And I kind of just stuck with that. I've played a lot of other stuff too. Played like, I also love horror games. Horror games are great. It's good for like the whole community to get together and watch me piss my pants being scared.
Yeah, horror games are really entertaining to watch in general.
They're fun. Yeah. I wouldn't play them by myself, probably like in a dark room. I mean, I would maybe, but I would also probably just like have a hard time, man. But
yeah, definitely. The only time I've played horror games alone is when I was streaming them, because I was like, I'm alone, but I got chat with me.
Yeah,
I'm not really alone. Chat's got my back.
Nice.
And then I've even done visual novels too. I think one of the first and I met so many awesome people during the time that I was playing this. But I was playing through Danganronpa, the whole franchise, and a lot of core people that I know even still to this day and have like relationships with. I met when I was streaming Danganronpa, so it's good.
Nice.
In there, that's total visual novel, and it's a change of pace to say the very least. So.
Before we get into a couple other things, last minute I asked your community and they threw out some stuff, and it was very cryptic to me. It didn't make any sense. So I think I'd be doing them a disfavor if I didn't like at least mention this stuff, so I can at least attempt to understand it. The first one that someone said when I asked was, I want Larz to explain X-ray again from the broadcast episode.
Yeah. That would be Panther. Okay, so what he's referencing is, so back in the day, I was part of a stream team called The Dragons, led by Miss Amari, alongside some other great broadcasters, one of them being Panther Bruja and another one being ASAP Clutch. And we did an episode, we did like promotional and fun times like podcasts together. It was one episode that we discussed lewd material in games. So those sexy adult games,
Yeah.
and we're not talking like basic bitch honey pop with boobies. We're talking like full on penetration. So Panther sent me over some games to preview before discussing in the podcast, right? Because you can't go into that, not having any source material to discuss. So.
Very true.
I had he gave me a game to download, and I can't for the life of me remember the name. He can probably tell you the name of the game for anybody who would want it for maybe research purposes yourself. But there's a and it was very Japanese. I'll say that much. And I see some tentacle comments. It didn't involve tentacles. It was a little more grounded than that. Yeah, that sounds like the right name. I don't want to repeat it because
After School Gang Rape Club, is that the actual title of the game?
That was the actual title, although it was in Japanese.
My goodness gracious.
It was a little bit heavy. So it's a kind of a visual novel, like in the sense that there's a lot of text. I didn't really pay attention to the text because there were a lot of other things to pay attention to. And one of the features that I suppose is kind of prominent in this genre of game, and I didn't know until this point, was X-ray, and it's exactly what you would think it is. You see an X-ray of the vaginal canal. I'm putting this very
okay.
I'm sorry.
So I understand this concept.
This is a mature podcast. You're free to explain all the details.
It's just the words are leaving my mouth, and I don't know what to do with them. And you definitely see, we'll just say secretions of seminal fluid. Lots of seminal fluid. So, yeah, that's
I wish I could say I didn't know what that is, but I follow quite a few people on Twitter, and they like to like some art and some animations from various artists. So every once in a while, I see some of that show up on my dashboard.
Oh man, Twitter's the worst. That like I at some point I turned off the mature filter, and I kind of forgot about it. And like you said, it's like someone else liked or retweeted something, and I'm flipping through that shit on like my break at work, and it's just like boom, full on frontal nudity, fucking anime titties, penetration. It's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't look at Twitter at work anymore.
I mean, it's a work of art. It's very much a work of art. There's a lot of time and dedication, to it.
There's just far better times for it to show up.
Other than at work, right?
Nice if it showed up when I'm at home, just casually browsing, not when I took 5 minutes out of my class time to look at my phone.
That's hard to explain to your peers.
Casually browsing my ass. I agree with Meshyf. He said James is 100% a Patreon for some Twitter artists.
Don't worry about it. I am a patron of the fine arts, Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm sure. So there was that one, and then someone else mentioned, I don't know if this is a specific occasion or just a theme, but someone mentioned a fart heard around the world. Was there there an instance of a...
This was also the podcast, and we were, so like I said, it was Panther, me, and Clutch, who recorded the podcast weekly, and we would bring on guests occasionally, and one of them was Amari, the person who was the head of the team and stuff, right? So she had, she knew a lot of people, so we recorded the podcast, all that stuff, all the good things. And then when we were done, I don't know if it was actually still being recorded. I don't know. I might have stopped my end of the recording, but I don't know if it was recorded locally on other sides. I had a rough night the night before, and I don't know what I ate or whatever, but we were done, and I had, sometimes you got that fart that you've just been kind of holding back. When it's time to let loose, it's more than anticipated. This was one of those. I mean, I didn't shart myself, but I was really close.
You pushed it out with gusto.
Yeah, there was a lot of gusts in that. So yeah, it was quite loud and audible. And if you knew Miss Amari, it was the sweetest thing ever, because she's she's got sons, right? But they were young, or I think it was maybe one son. I don't know, I can't remember now. But but so like boys do bodily function things, what happens.
Right.
But this was a grown man, in which I had at one point had respect from her, and I don't know if that fart was like the one that shattered the respect, but it might have been.
Well, I commend you, and I'm sure she still appreciates you and respects you as a person.
I'm sure she does too. She's a great gal. She's sweet.
Maybe we'll get a sneak peek of one of those. I might need to take a cue from the Your Mom's House podcast and somehow incorporate a fart mic into this show. That'd be pretty cool.
If I have one coming on, I will make sure that we abruptly halt any of the activities during the podcast to direct all attention to my asshole.
Attention, asshole incoming. So you mentioned here also. We spoke on Discord a bit, and I kind of asked you to tell me a little bit about yourself. You mentioned that you have 2 older sisters.
Yeah.
So what is the age? Like, how old are you? How old are they? What's the?
I'm 27. One is 39, and the other is 37. So there's a large gap.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah, like large gap, like 10 years.
Yep.
So you were the oops then, or?
So almost.
They're like, we had 2 girls. We're good. 10 years later, they're like, oops.
I mean, we can roll with that. I mean, because the reality, the real side of the story is actually rather sad.
Oh no!
Because my mom tried for more kids after they had they tried for more kids after my sisters, and they said she had miscarriages. So
now I feel like the asshole.
Nice going.
No, I mean, like, it's honestly like I shouldn't
skeletons.
say it's funny, but it's honestly like the calling it an oops is much more funny. I because they didn't expect me. And it's legitimate. Like, they didn't. So
Yeah. So being raised by 2 significantly older sisters, what kind of dynamic? I have one older sister, and it did come with some advantages. She was only 3 years older than me, but like, as far as like, she coached me quite a bit when it came to like girls and things of that nature. Were they too far away for any of that? Or like 10 years is a pretty big gap. So they were probably like, when you were 10, they were already moving out and stuff. Like,
yeah. They were already in like college and stuff when I, was probably like, it's 8, 9, So, no. And during that time, it was really just kind of me and my parents, and I'd see them occasionally. I'm really close to one of them, and the other one I've gotten actually much closer to. One of them, the one that I was like always really close to, is the younger of the 2, and she lives in Africa actually, which is kind of different.
oh wow.
She works on a translation project there. And she lives on an island that's like 3 miles wide and 15 miles long. So I see her occasionally. I've gone out to visit her a couple times, which has been really cool. And it's beautiful. I'll have to share some pictures of it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the other one has lived, she's lived around the US, but now she lives here locally. And she just, like, the last like year and a half had a baby niece, or baby. She had a baby. Now I have a niece. Those are the words.
She had a baby niece. I don't know.
Had a baby niece. She just found one. She found one, and she's like, "This is mine now."
It was made for me.
It's not my kid. It's my niece. So you said she lives here now. Where is here? I mean, I know you don't want to dox yourself, but like, whereabouts
I'm
are
actually
you?
pretty open about it. I'm in Tulsa. I'm in Northeast Oklahoma. So,
Ah.
Oklahoma,
Where the wind comes sweeping down.
Oh, I was just gonna sing it.
yeah. Where my wind comes sweeping down my ass crack
Through the valleys.
through the valleys.
That's where that wind keeps coming from. So, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
What-
Mhm.
What is there to do in Oklahoma? And I'm not asking that like
You
there's
can stream
nothing to
on
do
Twitch.
there, but like
Really?
I'm legitimately curious. Like, I'm not very familiar with like that area or
So-
the topography or anything. Is there?
So when I want to go for coffee, I have to actually ride my horse to the local saloon.
Mhm.
I actually stream. I'm in a teepee right now. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, like, so in Tulsa, it's a lot more like, I mean, it's a fairly large city. It's the second largest city in Oklahoma. So
Okay.
Okay, so it's very urban.
yeah, very urban. And I live in the burbs, so it's large enough to like to have burbs, if that makes sense. It's,
Right.
So The actual Tulsa itself is pretty industrial to some extent. But outside of like Tulsa and Oklahoma City, like there's not a lot to do. Like if you're in a smaller city in Oklahoma, you're kind of fucked if you want to find fun stuff to do.
That's your whole life.
Yeah.
Your life is the small town.
Yeah.
So yeah, someone in comment just reminded me that is a tornado prone area, is it not? Do you have any firsthand experience with tornadoes?
Oh yeah, I slept through one a couple years ago.
So it's
one
like
that was like
California.
within a mile and a half of my house, leveled like a bunch of buildings. Yeah, no, but I mean, like I'm just kind of used to it. We get tornadoes. Like we're coming up on tornado season actually here, like in the next month. So we'll see. We'll probably see a couple.
What was that you were saying, James? It's like what?
Oh, it's like Californians and earthquakes.
Yeah.
It's like we don't even wake up if it's at not even at least 7.0.
Yeah. The day after the most recent one, my dad came and picked me up for like breakfast, or we had like brunch that day, and he was like, did you hear? And I was like, what? He's like, did you hear the sirens go off? I was like, no, I slept, dude. I don't know what's going on. What do you mean? He's like, yeah, there was a tornado. And like, we drove past it, and there's just like windows shattered, like buildings that don't even, like, it's just skeletons of them left. And
wow.
Yeah. So it's sad too. Cause like, so I lived in Oklahoma City during college, and there were a couple parts of like in the surrounding area, actually more specifically, it's kind of it's a suburb outside of Oklahoma City. And like within like 6 years, it had been hit like 2 or 3 times. And like, there were people that like, they had just rebuilt their houses and they got hit again. Just because the weather patterns are just so like almost ritualistic that when the stars align, it's going to follow the same path.
Yeah. So does everyone in Oklahoma have a kick-ass basement?
No, we don't have basements here. You would think that we'd pull our heads out of our ass and actually have basements, but no, we like to live above ground because that's where the tornadoes are. That's fun. I don't know. No, we do, but a lot of people do get like tornado shelters. So,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all of my family from Idaho and Utah, they all have basements, and I'm like, what do you have a I guess because it's cold, and that's where they store all their food and guns.
Yeah,
but
Most likely, yeah.
I don't know.
I think I might be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure like the actual reason is like
does that have to do with the water
when they're
level?
building the foundation. They're like, well, we're digging this deep anyway. Might as well make it a room.
Yeah. I think it has something to do with the water level too. Like that's the reason a lot of houses in California don't have basements is because you're like digging below sea level or like below the well level, you know? So I
That
think
makes sense.
And maybe that's why I know like a lot of, Utah and Idaho, they're just higher elevation. They're like, I don't know what the average elevation is there, but I think it has something to do with that too.
That's interesting because we're pretty flat, but I don't think we're low on the sea level. I don't know. I've never looked into that, but that makes sense.
See, we're sitting on a gold mine. We need to start a basement building business in Oklahoma and start.
There you go. There you go.
How big do you think a basement is, Jimmy? Dude, I'm telling you, I have aunts and uncles and cousins who have big ass, kick ass basements. It's like where they have like entertainment center, like multiple rooms, bathroom, like it's a whole nother floor, but it's completely underground.
Mm-hmm.
So
like I just saw Biet's basement because it's where he lives. It's the basement of his parents' house, and I'm like, that's the same. That your entire basement is like the same size as my house.
yeah, exactly. I was always jealous. I think it'd be cool to have like a basement man cave.
I would too. I think I'd have a hell of a time in that. It'd be sweet.
So, I asked you stuff outside of broadcasting, what you do, and it was mostly gaming related. But I'm very curious if there's anything you do outside of gaming. Is there any hobbies? Did you play sports in school? Did you learn to basket weave? Do you play any instruments? Like,
So I didn't play any. Well, I kind of played sport. Like I played basketball because my dad made me. My dad was a huge sports fan. But I didn't really stick with that. Actually, what I did outside of like gaming as a kid, I was in band. So I played trumpet for about 7 years, marching band. And it was a pretty good band. Like we did really well. We were on the national level for several years.
Do you still play the
And-
trumpet at all?
No, I haven't played it since my high school graduation, actually. But I did continue music. I actually, part of my major, I did a double major, and part of my major in college was also music. But I did emphasis on like piano, voice, and guitar. So as of late, it's become more of like more along the lines of like kind of like a hobby. So because getting into the career field of music, it's quite competitive and difficult. So I've kind of neglected that idea. And a lot of those things that I learned though, because I did a lot of like live performances with music, a lot of that stuff has transferred over to broadcasting. So some of like just that kind of like pushing through the nerves kind of thing, this kind of, it's helped quite a bit. But-
Yeah, I can see that. I can relate. I played music all the way through from elementary school through high school. I actually originally when I went to college, I got accepted on an honors music program. So
Nice.
I'm very familiar with the competitiveness of music. And it was after that first year in college that I was like, yeah, I'm going to switch to computer science. Because like
fair.
when you get to that level and you realize like no matter how good you are, when you get to that level, you're like, I am fucking dog shit compared to these people. Like some of these freshmen coming in, they're just savants. And I was like, there's no way that I could ever possibly compete in this industry. Like I thought I was good, and then I reached that level, and I was like, nope, time to switch
You're a big
majors.
fish in a
I had-
very small pond.
I had a buddy in high school that had perfect pitch, and he was just phenomenal. Like he could sight read like nearly anything like that we put in front of him. He was incredible, and even he struggled in a lot of ways. And you know, landing any gigs like for pay post college for a long time. And he's still gone on to do some stuff with music, but like as far as like becoming what is it like? I guess like not proficient. What's the word? Like prosperous in the music field.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, man. It's really hard.
Yeah, it's definitely a passion project. You're gonna be a starving artist for many years before, unless you get real lucky.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So moving on to a couple other of your hobbies, I do want to talk about some of your other gaming stuff, but I kind of wanted to bridge the gap and learn about Larz a little more. I'm gonna show my ignorance here. You said that you like to build Gunpla.
Yes.
I thought that was a typo. I'm familiar with Gundam. I was like, what the hell is a Gunpla? And so I wanted to ask you about that because I have no idea what that is.
I actually have some kits I can show you. They're over here on my desk. So what it is, well, here, I'll explain it first. So what it is, Gunpla is, it is the model building process of Gundams.
Oh, okay.
In a basic terms, yeah. So it is like I've got this boy here. He's big, but each of these things are like little pieces that you cut off, basically like little runners, and then you assemble it.
They're all like connected together with little bits of plastic, right? I've seen a member of our team, Gator Pete. He's done one or two streams where he actually was putting them together, and he's got like different grit sandpapers and like all this stuff because you like have to clean up the edges once you break them apart and stuff.
Yep, absolutely. So it's like, I mean, like there's a whole subculture within it, and it's like there's a lot of learning involved with it, and I've only recently started doing this. I actually met a partnered broadcaster at TwitchCon that's been streaming the process of doing this and other different model crafting for a long time, and talked with her a little bit about it and figured out like that it's pretty attainable to just get started with it. If you want to get started with it, you can get like basically the tools that you'll need, like you said, sandpaper, clippers, and a kit, and you can get some of these kits for as cheap as like $10 sometimes.
I think I've actually seen them starting to sell some of those kits at like Barnes and Noble even.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know if there's been like because they've been around for a while, so I don't know if like there's been like a new resurgence that I just like, I don't know, kind of fell into the bandwagon of. But yeah,
I've always
even
felt
saw
like it was really niche.
It is pretty niche still. I think that'll probably reign true for a while, but I think it is kind of dipping its toe into being mainstream. I even saw kits at the mall at a pretty like like modern and nerdy store kind of like I had a bunch of like game related stuff, and I even saw it at a GameStop here locally. Yeah, I saw some kits there. So
Well, cool. Now I know what it's called because I know about Gundam models and I've seen them at the store and stuff. I didn't know they were called Gunpla. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Gunpla. I think there's a derivative that comes from it that's like Gundam and plastic, essentially, is how it melts together.
That makes sense. Yeah. No, I'm always happy when I can crank my pretentious level up a couple notches. So the next time someone's like, "Oh yeah, I build Gundam models," I can be like, you mean Gunpla?"
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. You're educating me, giving me power that I shouldn't have. And you do enjoy anime, you said.
Yeah. He builds Gunplas.
Well, obviously, I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, there's model builders who don't necessarily. Anyway, would you say, is that your main media consumption outside of gaming, or is it just like?
Probably not actually anymore. I think, well, I mean, it depends. I watch like a lot of movies, like a lot of like B movies. It's kind of where I start and then go from there. I really like suspense and thriller movies. But outside of that, probably like, well, lately I've been watching more shows, which I normally don't like watching television shows, like, because like just the idea of like sitting through an episode and then another episode. I like movies because it's all in one sitting. You know, like I can sit down, give it like an hour and a half or 2 hours of my attention.
Well, shows are all in one sitting too. If you've got 10 hours.
Well, exactly, and I don't want to do that. I usually don't. I don't have the capability of doing it either. So I'm like, shows are hit or miss. But I've been watching Mr. Robot lately.
Ooh, that's a good one.
On a kick on that.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Just finished season 2 last night. So, and I know that season 4, which is going to be an actually scripted finale, not like they're oh, we didn't get funding, so we're gonna just stop in the middle of the season. We'll write a quick ending kind of thing. Like the writers are intending for end.
Yeah, no, it's not just like, oh, oops, how do we end this? Yeah, it's not Lost.
Right, yeah. Or it just keeps getting dragged out over and over and over. Like I think I remember reading something about a post from I think it was the director, maybe. He said something along the lines of being like, we're happy to announce our 4th and final season. We know that like Elliot's story it wouldn't do it justice to continue it beyond what we've kind of intended, and this is the time in which we feel it's appropriate to end. And so I had a lot of respect for it then, and that was like when I knew I was really hooked.
Because it's hard to just say this is the end of the show.
Yeah, they can take that creative brilliance and then transfer it to something else,
But I respect that, and I think it's actually more often than not much more effective. I mean, if you compare some of these like really long running American shows to like in Europe, they do a lot more just like 2-3 season or even like mini series. Same with like in South America. When I was in Brazil, in the 2 years I was there, they went through like 4 or 5 different like novellas because they only last for like 6 months, right? They're not these massive like 10-year, the same cat. It's not like they have a story to tell, like you said. There's a beginning, middle, and end. The plot moves. It's more concise, and I think it's just more effective that way.
Yeah, and that's why I like when I watch anime. That's why I like the shorter like series that are even just like a single season of like maybe anywhere between 12 to 24 episodes or something like that. Like when it's something like that, I feel like it's not overdone. You don't have as much filler. Some of the filler that is there is like, it still serves a purpose in like getting some comedic light in there or whatever the purpose is, So, yeah.
All right, 2 things. Since you talked about TV shows and movies, TV show that I just started watching, and I recommend for everyone out there, especially if you, depending on your age during the late 90s, early 2000s, there's a show that just came out on Hulu called Pen 15. And
Pen 15 as in penis?
Yeah, Pen 15.
Pen 15 Club?
Okay.
Yeah, it's called Pen 15, and it's about 2 junior high girls, and like it's so spot on to the time period. and it's just hilarious because like there's a whole episode that's centered around, for example, AIM, like AOL Instant Messenger, like when
nice.
when they like create their screen names and then they're like going in chat rooms and they're like, I'm gonna meet this guy, and it just touches on so many of the things that I experienced during that time. And it's a really, really good show, and it's two girls and they're comedians, and they're actually they're both of them are older, but they do an amazing job looking like 12,
Younger?
13 years. Yeah. I don't know. It's pretty incredible. So that's one that I definitely recommend you check out if you have some free time. And then one of my quick fire questions that I just added, because you talked about movies. So for me, Star Wars, the original trilogy, the 4, 5, and 6, those movies are movies ever since I was a kid. If I ever saw them on TV, or if I ever see them like playing on a channel when I'm flipping through, or like I see them on Netflix or whatever, it's really hard for me not to watch them. Like I just, whenever they're on TV, I stop and I watch it. For ever since I was a kid, I don't know why those 3 movies, like I can watch over and over and over again whenever I see them. Is there a equivalent of that for you? What is your Star Wars trilogy? Is there one movie that like anytime you see it?
Yeah, this is a good question. So now to kind of maybe relate it, it's like maybe because I don't really watch like a lot of actual TV. Like I don't like sit in front of the physical TV and watch like scheduled programming like that. But, I think if I were to still relate it to like what I would in that kind of case, it would probably be maybe like Happy Gilmore would be great.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or maybe the original Jurassic Park.
Oh, true.
That's a good one.
Can't beat like an angry golfer or dinosaurs.
What about you, James?
Oh, that's easy. Every time I'd be flipping through the channels, if I ever saw Tremors come up,
Ooh.
Ooh. There you go.
it's the best, worst movie.
I was gonna say Larz probably appreciates that. That's a borderline B movie right there.
Yeah, I do
So
like
good.
stuff like
It's
that.
so
That's
good, but it's so bad. I love it.
Yeah.
And
Remember we
it
watched
was
in
so
college.
bad. There's like
Go ahead, sorry.
4 more of them.
Yeah, there's
They
like,
kept
yeah,
making them.
Yeah. It kind of like I feel like it was probably a lot of the inspirational material for like Sharknado. We watched all those in college too.
Oh yeah.
Like that whole franchise there.
The only other one I can think of, my adult version of Star Wars, like the one movie I can never pass up even when I see it on my own shelf. If I ever see it on TV or if I ever see it streaming, and I will stop whatever I'm doing and watch it, is the movie Snatch.
Snatch. I haven't seen that.
It is
Sounds familiar.
it's got Brad Pitt has a minor role in it. It's about basically it's got Benicio del Toro. It's a Guy Ritchie. It's one of Guy Ritchie's breakout movies. It's like there was Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and then after that he had Snatch. And every single time that movie comes on, the movie is so incredibly quotable, and the plot and all the characters. I love strong character types. I love archetypes. And the whole movie is structured around that. You've got like Bricktop and Bullet Tooth Tony and One Punch Mickey, and it's just like it's a great movie. So that would probably be my other one that I could recommend to you.
Sounds interesting. Yeah,
it sounds really good.
I just kind of peeked it a little bit, but it's got Jason Statham in it.
Yeah, that was his. It was like basically one of his breakout roles. It was one of his first movies that kind of put him on the map.
I like Jason Statham too, so it sounds up my alley.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. James, was there any other questions you wanted to ask him before we get to some of our quick fire daddies?
No, not specifically. We really expanded. We hit like family, area. The only thing we don't know is like his mother's maiden name at this point.
Yeah. Where were you born? What city? Last 4 of your social. Your first pet. Your make and model of your first car. What's high school mascot? Yeah, we need all of that stuff for our archives. Let's see here. I did want to ask you a couple gaming questions. So you said outside of streaming, what kind of you said you enjoy some multiplayer stuff. Do you play fighting games at all? That's something I can never get into. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, so it's funny. I got into actually Panther brought up something good too. I'll mention that here in a second. But yeah, I played some fighting games. But as a kid, I was just a dirty, greasy fucking button masher. I didn't know what I was doing. I got more into fighting games as I got older. But I think I got back into them with Dragon Ball FighterZ, which again back to like Panther got me into that. And then most recently Smash Brothers Ultimate. So which is a little bit more unconventional versus like your 2D standard fighter. But I don't know.
Have you been playing Apex at all?
Yeah, I have.
Is that even a question, Jimmy?
That's true. I should say, have you not played Apex?
Yeah, I mean, like, and I played like a lot of shooters growing up. I think like when I first started like really liking games, like, and spending a lot of unhealthy hours at the time playing games was probably playing like Halo with my buddies, and like we're talking like the original Halo. We'd get like, I remember most of the time, like for my birthday parties, I'd just have, like some guys over, and we would do like a LAN setup with 2 Xboxes and play with 8 players, which was like a hell of a time. We do that. And I don't like really, I don't stream like shooters typically, unless it's like a first person shooter, right? But or not a first person shooter, a single player shooter. Okay. It's a multiplayer shooter. I don't want to shoot. I don't want to stream it. Usually just because it's like it requires a lot of focus, and I don't get to be able to interact as much as I want. But yeah, on my off time, I do like playing shooters. I think if I'm going to play something, I usually want to do something more tactical. I think Rainbow Six Siege is one for me in that field.
And if you die early, you have a ton of time to talk to chat.
There you go. Yeah, and I've thought about streaming Siege just because there could be some fun with that. So it's been on my list of things to possibly do.
Yeah, James, you played quite a bit of Siege, right?
I have. I went through a stint, I think like 2 years I was playing a ton of Siege. It's really fun, but man, if you want to like just play solo queue, you're better off not doing that at all. It's so bad. You really need a group to play it.
Yeah, having a crew to go with is the way to go. Solid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, maybe we'll have to queue up sometime off stream or something. Play some games. I played some Apex Legends with Ogre Magi actually off stream.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Mm-hmm. I kind of coached him a little bit on some of the mechanics of the game and got him up to speed a little bit. So
the thing that I love about Apex, and you guys might have talked about this before though, but it's just really accessible, right? And it's forgiving enough, yet still challenging enough because of the player base that like I think people of all different skill levels can access it and play it and have a good time, So that's what I like about Apex probably the most. So can either go try hard or you can like still just play really casually and have a good time.
Mm-hmm. You could be like, we're all going to play the 3 smallest hitbox characters and like go for kills. Or you're just like, I just want to play Caustic and throw gas traps.
Uber try hard. Yeah, no, I'm casual. I do like to win. I'm not the type of guy who's trying to like. I mean, you see there's those guys that just like essentially solo queue, right? Like they immediately break off from the team, get as many kills as they can, try and survive, die, and requeue, and like. I don't know. I'm not that hardcore. I like trying to play the game as a team and just have fun and see how far I can get. I have gotten better as I've played it more, and I enjoy it more when I play better. So, but I wouldn't say I'm a tryhard, but I feel like I'm getting pretty decent at it. I haven't played FPS seriously for a long time. So just like getting my FPS chops back first and then also learning all the mechanics of the game, it's been interesting to kind of dive back into that.
Mm-hmm.
So before we ask, we have some typical quick fire questions we like to ask, but before we do, someone in chat mentioned I have to do it. So they said,
I know where this is going. That's totally fine. Yep, we'll do it.
So I don't know how this clip does not have more views. Someone out there needs to take this clip and go post it on Reddit This should be his name to fame right here. When I saw this clip, I almost fell out of my chair. It's a whole different level of ASMR. So
oh god! All right. Yes.
Trigger warning: if you're from his community, you probably know what this clip is. If you're not, if you're from my community, prepare yourselves.
Yeah, I think that the best warning is just like if you have potentially uneasy stomach or you're squeamish in any form or fashion, just avert your gaze. And your ears are probably more important than your eyes right now.
It's gonna happen to you guys. I'm sorry. You haven't been to the bucket before. We've had people.
I wish I had a bucket during this clip.
just to give you some context of what we do here, we had a guest on who used to be a phone sex operator, and she gave us a detailed accounting of when a man asked her to moo like a tauren for like 30 minutes.
Fucking torrent.
So that's the kind of podcast we have here. When I saw this clip, I was like, we're playing this shit on our show. There's no way we're not playing this clip. So you've been warned. I'm going to switch over to our fancy pants media view here. And I'm going to turn up the volume. So enjoy.
Oh, no.
I got to prepare myself to hear this again.
Oh, no, James. You talked. Now I have to play it again. It's so gurgly.
Oh. You see, what is it? Is it empathy? You empathize with people's like emotions and feeling.
I love how he said, "That's not good. I'll be right back." It's like all in his beard and shit.
I'm pretty sure I had like something like, I don't know. Is there in that clip? Can you see how many shots I've had or how many drinks there were?
It says Larz has drank 22.
Yeah, so that was mixtures of like shots as well as like mixed drinks. Yeah. So I was, needless to say, absolutely dumpstered, man. I was fucking trashed that night. I was doing drunk souls. So like if I died, I'd take a drink kind of thing.
And since we're playing clips, Bishop Girl sent me this one and I really liked it, so I wanted to play this one too. I'm not gonna we were trading clips in our little chat. I'm not gonna play them all. But I did like this one. This will give you guys an idea of what to expect if you go over to twitch.tv/LARZ for all you people listening out there. This is the type of content you can expect over there.
I might actually pass out. Holy shit.
And then he starts dancing.
Oh my gosh, I almost legit just faded. I don't even know what just happened. I blacked out for a second. I'm not even fucking kidding. I literally just fucking blacked out for a second.
I like that one. And this last one is short. I like this one too. Dude, you're clippable, man. We need to. We might have to add a section to our podcast just called Larz Clips.
No.
And people can just submit your shit to my podcast to play on.
Oh.
It's gonna be a new.
Oh, this is a great one. This is one of my favorites.
So yeah, here's another one that I enjoyed.
Stove tank.
For you, Kellen. Can't say I haven't ever done something nice for you.
Fucking watching this, dude, and knowing that there's a delay on it, so I have to sit here.
That's a bannable offense now on
slap.
Twitch. You're
Okay.
oh, and the thigh
Here you go,
slap.
5-star.
Oh, you are right, Bishop. You are right.
Perfect. So yeah, that's some quality content you got there.
Oh, yeah. It's yeah. I think I've maybe settled down a little bit since some of those clips, but then again, we still have some moments that are a little rambunctious. So yeah,
I like it.
a little goofy, a little bit out there.
All right, so what we're going to do now, we have a list of questions that we like to pull from and
Sure.
ask some of our favorites. And then after that, we'll take a short, like 5-minute break. And then when we come back, we'll do our Chiefs beef and close out the show. We might throw in a couple other topics in there. Oh, Merlin Temple, how are you not a regular? Let me do that real quick. James, do you have the list up? Is there a question you'd like to ask our friend Larz?
Oh, I'm looking for the list. Don't worry about it. Oh, I found it. Found the list. Let's see. Should I
I'm
just
excited.
the one you added?
Say what?
Oh, Jimmy was telling me the other day how he was perusing Reddit and found this very interesting question.
I like it a lot. I'm very curious to see what people say.
All right, Lars. A ghost will haunt you forever. You can choose who he or she was before dying. Who's your ghost?
I have to pick my ghost?
Yeah.
You're being
Oh.
haunted forever.
Can be anybody. Can be anybody. This is a good question. Maybe Bodak wants to haunt me. Well, maybe like, oh goodness, I'm trying to think of like who a ghost would be that would be like fun that we could fuck with each other. Maybe RKO. Like, is that fair?
Yeah,
Can RKO be my ghost?
absolutely.
It could be anyone.
It's between them or maybe Kellen. Either one of them. They would probably fuck with my shit all the time. They'd probably move stuff, and I'd be like, "Who the fuck moved this?" And I'd be like, "Oh right, yeah." It's like
the ghost.
it's one of the ghosts, you know.
Nice. I like it. All right. So how about this one? What is your favorite cuss word?
Fuck, easy. Yeah, I say fuck all the time. Fuck is like it's my favorite fucking word.
Yep. And which is a common answer here, but there is a follow-up to that question.
Oh boy.
Thinking outside of the sinful seven, so outside of the normal standard cuss words, is there a word or phrase that you find humorous? Previous examples are douche canoe. We've had a lot of douche ones actually. The last few episodes.
Douche nozzle.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been calling a lot of things cucks, even if they lack the properties on which they're able to cuck things. So I've been calling bokoblins and Legend of Zelda fucking cucks, and like this dirty cuck over here.
I like Bodoc's fuck plugger. Oh, fuck plunger.
Fuck plunger. Would that just be a penis?
I guess.
I guess not necessarily. It could be anything that plunges a fuck hole area.
I kind of like fuck plugger. I read that wrong, and I liked my.
That's the evolution of the language.
Bro, plug your cuck, dude, or your fuck.
Cuck plugger.
Cuck plugger. Oh boy.
Yeah, there you go. It's fuck plugger and cuck plugger.
I'm gonna start saying cuck plugger now. I'm gonna start saying it. I'm not gonna provide any explanation. People just have to interpret it the way they want to.
There you go. We are. You can have that. It's free. I won't charge you for that one. So you said you play some. You play some Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Can you tell me why is Fox trash?
Why is Fox trash? Fox is trash because all the sweaty tryhards play Fox. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm. I can get down with that.
Yeah. Wait, is this a trick question?
No,
What is this
no.
all about?
on my quick fire questions, I have why is blank trash, and I like to ask a controversial question that will make people angry. So you answered it perfectly.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like Fox. If I was gonna play any out of like the trio there, it would probably be Wolf, I think. But even still, it's not. I want to play heavies. I don't like playing I don't like playing a lot of speed characters. I wanna play like fucking Ganondorf and like Warlock. Yeah, Warlock punched somebody in the fucking stratosphere. Let's go.
James is shaking his head at your Ganon comment.
30%. I should be fine. Oh, wait a minute.
That backhand though, he's bops.
James, you got one that you want to ask? Anything?
Oh yeah, sure.
From our list that you're interested in?
What's something you're not really good at?
Sex.
You heard it here first, ladies.
Honest man. You come out and say it.
You got to stop puking on him, Larz. Like shit, man.
Well, I've also
He just shows up, slaps his inner thigh, and throws up and walks away. That's not sex, Larz. You can't. Yeah, it takes.
I could have been really dark there too. There's other ways I could go about that question. But yeah, no. I'm actually self-deprecation is one of my favorite things. Although this last year I've made or like since January really, been trying to make a more intentional effort to be less self-deprecating. But the roots are all still there. So you know, so when you say this might be too dark.
Go
Can I
for
say
it.
this?
There's no such thing. This is the bucket. We're deep in the bucket at this point.
I need to cover my face to say this. So when you asked me what's one thing that I'm bad at, and I almost said taking a bath with a toaster.
Well, if you were good at it, you wouldn't be here right now, obviously.
Exactly.
Well, see, that should have been your first answer. You should have gone with your
Quality
instincts.
answers.
Is there a sound? This is a two-parter. Is there a sound or noise that you love that like
God.
takes you back to a moment in time or your childhood? Examples that we've had in the past are like 56K modem. It can be a song, it can be a sound, a video game noise.
Maybe. Well, I made that sound because I make that sound all the time. But it doesn't take me back to my childhood. It just reminds me that I am a child.
There you go.
Oh shoot. What? Well, let's see. A sound that takes me back to my childhood.
It doesn't have to be that, but a sound that like is tied to like an emotion or a memory. Another example we've had on the show is the sound of a lightsaber.
Does the Pornhub intro sound count?
Yeah, sure.
No, I'm just kidding. Let's see here. I think if I heard the sound again, it'd take me back. But maybe like the PS2 startup noise.
Oh yeah,
and menu sounds.
Any of the console boot ups, especially like the original Sega, like the Sega 16. That Sega.
Yep.
Followed by the Sonic music playing, like that one. That one triggers
Dun,
me.
dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
Yeah. GameCube boot up. Yeah. Console ones are pretty powerful ones for me. Sure.
The GameCube one has been ruined for me because of the GameCube.
Oh, the meme. Yeah, that's true. All right. The other half of that question is, what is a sound or noise that triggers you?
Oh God. Sound of my own voice.
Yeah, really?
No, I really don't like the sound of my own voice. A lot of people tell me that they like it, but I don't.
I can get down with that.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Like legitimately though. Smacking, like when you're like eating or chewing.
Oh yeah.
I had a roommate in college, and he's still like one of my best friends. And he had like extremely bad asthma, and also had like a fucked up nose basically, and he couldn't really breathe through his nose, so when he'd eat he'd have to breathe through his mouth. He was this fucking mouth breather, man. Like, so he'd be sitting there eating, and he'd be like making these like sounds while he's eating, and I couldn't do it, man. We couldn't eat in the same room.
Yep. Yeah, we've had a few food related ones. We had teeth on a fork.
Fork scratching plate.
Those ones are apparently, we make a lot of triggering sounds when we eat the wrong way.
Yeah, I wonder why that is. Like psychologically, what comes from that? Maybe it's just because like eating is very like habitual.
Maybe
it's a sacred task.
Like, yeah, I mean, I could see that.
Well,
yeah,
and plus it's like associated with your mouth, which is like in some ways an intimate hole, you know. So
yeah.
It's like,
I like other mouth sounds. There's some mouth sounds that I rather. I mean, I rather like, you know, but
sure. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of people get triggered by like a lot of face noises in general, like a wheezing nose. Like a clogged nostril, someone.
That one doesn't bother me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's
It only bothers me if it's really excessive. Like you're sitting somewhere, it's kind of quiet, and then every once in a while you just hear.
Oh
Like
god.
literally, like
A
every
little whistle.
like,
Yeah.
every other minute, you're just like, where's it coming from?
You're taking a test in college, and the kid's 2 seats over from you, sitting there wheezing out of one nostril, and you're just like, "Fucking shit, I'm gonna kill this kid."
Oh.
Yeah. So let's see. I think we got most of the good ones that we like to ask. Oh, I like this one. This one's always curious to ask
Sure.
people.
Said it.
What profession, other than what you're doing right now? Let's say you woke up tomorrow and
Mhm.
you know how to do it. You're a pro. You have all the training, education. You can just boom. This is what you are now. What is there a profession that you would choose?
Yeah, I think because I've been asked this before too, and this was actually something I had thought about doing at one point. I think maybe if you got me right after college, I would have probably said like a teacher, like an English teacher or something. I think now though, and this thought had kind of been in the back of my head for a long time, and I thought if I was doing something other than this, like what I'd want to do, and it still would be entrepreneurial. Like I would want to do something where I kind of like was managing the forefront of it, or at least being kind of dictating some decisions regarding it. And I think I'd want to own like a little cafe or coffee shop kind of thing.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Something simple, but I do like coffee, drink it daily. And I like the idea, like I like hanging out in coffee shops too. Like it's just nice. I don't do it enough anymore, so yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, Lady Navio and I have talked about her wanting to open a small boutique used bookshop that like serves coffee someday.
Yeah.
So
One of the coolest ones that I've been to, it was, dude, this was like so it's not open anymore, but it was here in town. And it was like a great date spot. I took a couple gals there when I was younger, but it was a repurposed bank vault.
oh wow, that's kind of
So
cool.
you could go and sit inside the vault, and it was really cool. It was very unique vibe and very rustic because it was like an older vault kind of thing. So yeah. Especially because you don't unless you work at a bank, you don't see that kind of stuff daily. So if you were able to like go in, I think that would be the cool thing to do too. If I were to own one, like is just have like a really unique repurposed building for something like that. Something diverse from what you normally see.
Yeah, something unique.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of bookshops out there.
Yeah.
You got to do something to stand out, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That market differentiation.
Mm-hmm.
So we have
something that's not there.
Yeah. What would mine be? If I had to, what would my niche be? I'm gonna have to think about
It's
this.
a novelty bucket store.
Yeah. Books and buckets.
Books and buckets.
Yeah. So there's one more question. I'm gonna let James do the honors. It's the last question that we ask all of our guests.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually working on we're gonna compile the answer to this one because it's kind of interesting. But after that we'll take a short break. We did actually get a Jumbotron James. So
I saw it get snuck in.
So we'll ask you this question. James will do that, and then we'll take a short break, and then we'll be back with some beef. And it looks like he did upload that beef, so it's all ready
I saw
to
that.
go. All right, James.
All right, Larz, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Your room, your desk, and your car. Which do you clean first?
Probably the desk. I just spent a lot of time here. But I think probably what would be more important, I just procrastinate, would probably be the room, because the whole I'm kind of I'm not super feng shui or whatever, but I do get the feelings of vibes, and being in a dirty room gives me anxiety. So, but then again, I also have a dirty room a lot of the time. So that's probably why I'm clinically depressed. I live in a dirty room. So No, I mean, like, but you know, I kind of feed off that stuff. So, and even now, I'm looking at my desk now. I'm starting to think about like how I should probably clean it a little bit. But
Our question triggered you.
yeah, no, not in a bad way.
It makes me
a good reminder.
take a look at my own desk. It's like, why do I have this?
Yeah.
Why do I have this soda can right here? Got some receipts over here. Why are they there?
Yeah, that's a good question, though. Yeah, I like that.
All right. So we have a segment on our show here. On our Twitch channel, we use our own little currency called ducats. And once you've earned enough ducats, you can submit a Jumbotron James. And it's a message that James has to read during the podcast.
I am legally obligated to read this.
Because I said he would. So if we don't, then we're a bunch of lying assholes. So actually, we had one submitted to us. James is going to pull his microphone nice and close to his lips. All you ladies out there, put your headphones on, close your eyes, light a candle, and James is going to read this message to you.
Mm-hmm. This message coming from that Bishop girl. Hello, friends. Look at Larz being a doof. Have you wondered about Larz's Pimmel health? Larz zorganicpills.nz/ppills/pimmelpills/large/Larz Pimmel pills. # not scam.
Something tells me that wasn't Bishop.
It says it was that Bishop girl.
She's the one that sent it, but it could be someone sent her the coffee pasta and then just had her send it.
Monka. That smells like a bodak.
So yes, that was Jumbotron James. You too can have a Jumbotron James read on the podcast. If you don't have ducats, you can email us at hitthebucketpodcast@gmail.com with your message, and I'll work out some form of payment. It might be your soul, or it might just be, be my friend, because I'm lonely. No, I'm just
Same
kidding.
though.
All right, we're going to take a short break. And then, 3 to 5 minutes. Go do what you got to do. Drink your drink, smoke your smoke, hit the bucket. And when we come back, we have a hot, fresh, spicy beef from our good friend Meshyf. And you don't want to miss that. It's for our regulars here, it's one of their favorite parts of the show. So we'll be back in a few minutes. All right, we are back. We're going to jump right into it. I'm going to bring him back on here in just a second. For those who don't know, let me explain to you real quick what Chief's Beef is. Our good friend Meshyf, twitch.tv/Meshyf, that's MESHYF, he puts together a little pre-made video for us for our podcast. And he likes to channel his inner angry old man. He chooses 2 topics that he's going to bitch about. He's going to tell us to get off his lawn, and usually the topics, some of them are fun, some of them are pretty trivial, some of them are legitimate issues. And we get to decide which of the 2 issues is the bigger beef. You guys in chat can play along and decide for yourselves which one is the bigger beef. We're going to have a debate amongst ourselves, and then Meshyf is going to tell us if we are right or wrong. It's all subjective, but according to him, there is a right answer. So I'm going to bring them on here in our media view, and we're going to get the Chief's Beef going. Did you guys all get it downloaded?
I did, yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I have it up here. Oh, by the way, Meshyf, if you're still here, if not, for those who don't know, we had a contest. I don't know if anyone ever submitted a tweet, but if you hashtag hit the bucket, Meshyf, if you want to type in chat the rules of the giveaway, I don't know if it ever happened. I think we're still potentially looking. We had a couple. Did you choose one, or are we still looking for entries? He actually has one of those beef sweaters to give away. In that picture there, you see him wearing that beef sweater. He actually purchased a beef sweater that he was gonna give away. Meshyf TV on Twitter and hashtag hit the button. Yeah. There's an update in the video. Oh, okay. So sorry. I hope I didn't spoil it. But yeah, there's that's don't shake your head at me. We're gonna get this going. If you guys are ready, we usually do it on go. So I'll say 1, 2, 3, go, and we'll all hit play.
Mm-hmm.
Deal.
All right. So you got it all up and ready?
Yep.
I think
All right.
I'm good to go.
1, 2, 3, go.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Chiefs Beef!
Welcome, everyone, to the ring. I'm your host, Meshyf, bringing you this week's hot and spicy beef. What we're going to do is bring two contenders head-to-head, and I'll tell you which is the biggest beef of the week. First beef is bad nurses.
Ooh.
I like to call them burses.
Burses?
So a burse is a nurse.
Well, what is this picture?
Kind of sucks, right?
It's a bad
In a
nurse.
doctor setting, you're spending
Where's
a
that needle gonna
majority
go?
of your time waiting, and then the second biggest investment in your time is with the nurse.
That's
If you have
true.
a shitty nurse, either she's
Yeah.
mean or rude or just not good at their job or slow or whatever.
Or misses your vein four
They can
times?
Totally ruin an experience. And going to the doctor
Jimmy is biased
already
towards this question.
That's a
already
missionary.
sucks. It sucks. It doesn't matter what it's for. You don't want to be there, and having someone there that is running the show and they don't want to be
Who
there.
gave that lady a
That is a
fucking
bad
saw?
And it sucks too, because the doctor, you really only get to see them for
Okay, so see, that's
a couple
clearly a
seconds,
good
minute or
nurse.
two. They look at your chart, tell the nurse what to do, and then they're gone. They have such little impact on the actual care that finding the right doctor is really finding the right nurse.
That's true.
If you've ever had a bad nurse, you know exactly what I mean. When my wife was pregnant and we were in the hospital for 5 days because she was induced and it just didn't happen, we had just a slew of awful, mean nurses that wouldn't listen, or just drill sergeants just there to get the process through so they could get you the fuck out of there because they don't really care. And then you get that one good nurse and you're like, oh, this doesn't have to suck. This can be okay. So, versus, you're the first beef of the week. Second beef is the reusable bag. Now,
Uh-oh.
I'm in California, so a little bit of preference. Most of the country can probably still get a free bag when they go and buy stuff, but I can't. Okay, it's against the law. No more free bags, no plastic bags. You get this weird, like, paper, plastic, polyurethane thing. I got to bring bags, okay? And it's okay. It's good for the environment. I'm with you. I don't want a bunch of plastic bags sitting in a landfill biodegrading for the next 15 years because I decided to go to the store and buy a loaf of bread, cat food, and some fucking beer, okay? It doesn't need to be there forever. Reusable bags make sense, but I fucking hate forgetting these goddamn things. I fucking hate doing it.
He hates his own memory
The
then.
reusable bag is fine, but I will always forget it. So I have to punish myself every single time. I absolutely refuse
To buy plastic bags?
to pay the 10 cents for a reusable plastic bag.
Just walk-
I have a garage exploding. It's so full of reusable bags. They're just sitting there. So what I do to punish myself is no matter how much stuff I have, I refuse it. If I can carry it all in my arms, I'll carry that shit all out to my car in my arms. You know, I got a bunch of loose crap. No problem. And what do I do with it when I get it to my car? Just dump it in the trunk. Because I have to punish myself every single time I go to the grocery store until I get it in my fucking head that I got to bring these stupid bags. These stupid bags that serve a purpose, a good purpose. But still fuck these bags because I can't stop forgetting them. If you're in a
Why not
part
just
of
keep 'em in the
country where you
car?
can still have that, like, oh,
You got to remember to put them back in the car after you
bags.
empty them in your
Yeah,
house.
Just give me a bag.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
You're so lucky. You're so lucky, and you don't even know it. So that's why the reusable bag is the second beef of the week. Jimmy, James, chat, Larz. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this week's beef and figure out which of the two is the absolute beefiest. And when we come back, I got a beefy beef update on the contest.
All right, I got it paused at 4:36.
Yep, same here.
Okay.
Cool. That bag one is ridiculous, machine.
I thought he was really biased towards the nurse, but then he really started talking about those reusable bags.
Talking to those bags, I've never heard someone abuse the concept of inanimate objects like so.
Oh, he's talked about doors and sinks and diapers, and you got to go watch some of the previous ones.
I dig. I love it. Oh man, my aunt has like 100 of these reusable bags, and
I have a
we
whole
live-
closet full.
Yeah, we don't. They're not required here. They're required at like the select hipster joints where you buy organic fucking broccoli.
Mhm.
But
That's all of California.
yeah, well, yeah.
When you
all
go to
of
purchase your
California's
quinoa.
your quinoa.
It's ghee around here. We don't use butter anymore. We use.
So we're supposed to
You
come up
can
with a verdict on which one's worse.
Yeah, you can kind of express your
beef?
feelings about both beefs and then decide which one is the. Do you have if you have any experience with bad nurses or reusable bags, you're welcome to dive into those a little bit. But at the end, you have to decide which one is the bigger beef.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I've spent many nights in the ER for various reasons, and shitty nurses do suck. But I've kind of just like lowered my standards, so I kind of didn't think about it until we bring it up here in this situation. So, but yeah, the whole thing with the veins, though, this is actually maybe this was a really bad nurse. It was very unprofessional. Apparently, my veins were really easy to find. I had a nurse told me once that I had veins fit for heroin.
What?
That was
metaphor.
Yeah. So I don't do heroin, but yeah, that was the worst nurse. I don't know.
So which one do you think is a bigger beef?
Maybe the nurse, because it has to do with your health. I don't know. I mean, like, man, I said I don't want to get fucked up in that way. I've heard like horror stories about shit in the medical field. Like you fucking go in for surgery and you wind up with a plastic glove in your butt. Like, hello?
Mhm.
Yeah. It's I might agree with you, but I want to hear James's opinion on these topics as well.
Well, you see, I haven't been like into a hospital like that often. I went when I was younger because I've broken both of my wrists.
Mm-hmm.
1 year after the other, quite doing the exact same thing. Keep that in mind. But then the only other time I went was when I had mono, and the nurse was just like, "Okay, we'll take a seat. The doctor will be in here soon." And then I was like, "That's all you're here for? All right, thanks." And then she just came in to like swab my throat, and then she was like, "Huh, that's an interesting color." And it's like, to me, and not knowing what's wrong with me, being told, "Oh, that's an interesting color from the swab we just took from you," that just like spooks me. I'm like, "What do you mean that's an interesting color? What's it supposed to look like?" But I've never had like a shitty nurse. And then California, I know when I left to college, it was right before they made the switch to reusable bags in California. So when I came back and we went shopping, I thought it was so weird that they didn't just like give you the bags. You had to have your own. Because here in Vermont, they're just like, "Oh, paper or plastic." And I'm like, "Oh, plastic, of course, because I hate the planet." But then I don't even think about it. And it's like, just like comparatively, like nurses with your health, I feel like that'd be a bigger issue. But
Yeah.
Meshyf, I felt like he really dislikes these reusable bags.
Yeah.
But like on a health level versus like save the planet, I think the nurses is the bigger beef.
Yeah, I might lean towards nurses too until I start talking out loud. We'll see. I tend to change my own mind a lot. For me, as far as the nurses go, for many of you who know me, you know that I've been married a few times. It's an ongoing joke here. My first wife actually had cystic fibrosis and a double lung transplant. And so we were at the hospital all the time. And what I can say is if you will allow me to lump technicians and like vocational, like, because they're also like in a helping role. They're not doctors. They do like a specific task. Like there's like X-ray techs. There's lab techs. Like the lab tech for bigger hospitals, there's like a lab tech, right? They're the person who comes in just to draw blood, give shots, start a line in your vein for drip for an IV. Like there's a specific person that's like a tech that does that. They're a lab tech, and they just walk around with a little cart and they do that all over the hospital. If you're lumping techs in with nurses, I would say that one's the bigger beef for me, because the difference between a bad tech or a bad vocational hospital worker and a good one completely changes the experience entirely. When my wife is already dealing with a plethora of other issues and health problems and all this stuff, and you got some shitty tech who comes in and blows up her arm for like 10 minutes because he can't hit a vein, and she leaves like with bruises all over her arms. Whereas like the techs that you learn to know, like the good ones from the bad, because they'll come in and be like flip, and they'll get it first try, boom, cool, you got your line for your IV, and they're in and out in a few minutes, and no pain, no fuss. But when you have a bad one, I agree, it completely ruins like the whole experience, and it's just one more thing that you have to deal with on top of, if you're in a hospital, you're already dealing with something, right? And then to have bad care on top of that just magnifies the whole experience. So if we're lumping techs in there, most of the nurses we had were pretty good, but some of the techs we had were really bad, and they fucked things up all the time, and it's really frustrating. However, I do want to speak my piece on the plastic bag thing. My biggest beef isn't the reusable bags. My biggest beef with that law that passed is the reusable plastic bags. Because what they did is they got rid of the really thin, like the bags that were designed to break down, the ones that all grocery stores had that were like the thin plastic that we used every day. Mm-hmm. They got rid of those, but now that you have to pay for them, they just made the plastic thicker and said these are reusable now. And that completely defeats the purpose, because those thicker bags are going to take even longer to biodegrade. And a lot of people are too lazy to put bags back in their car, so they just pay the 10 cents for plastic bags every time they go. So now they're just like, rather than having the cheap little plastic bags that are going to break down a few years from now, to like these thick ass plastic bags that are supposed to be reusable. So it's even worse. And so I think if they're going to pass that law, they should have gotten rid of plastic bags altogether and said, if you don't bring a bag to the store, fuck you, put it in your shopping cart, take it out to your car and load it yourself. They just replaced the plastic bags with worse ones and started charging money for them. And that's what pisses me off. So that's a legitimate beef I have. The idea of reusable bags, obviously our planet's going to shit. We should use reusable bags. So if you're going to make a law like that, stick to your guns. Don't half-ass that. Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. And that's what they did. They half-assed it, because all the stores are like, oh, we're just going to start charging money for plastic bags and make them thicker so people can reuse them. And I have a whole fucking closet full of plastic reusable bags, because I forget, and I'm like, it's 10 cents. I probably got like $20 worth of plastic reusable bags in my closet. Mm-hmm. So that one's a beef for me too. Like, I don't know. I think, if you ever have the opportunity to vote for that law, unless they have a stipulation, unless they specifically put in there like no plastic bag, like I would probably vote against it. I voted for it, actually. I voted for getting rid of plastic bags, because I didn't think that would be an option. I didn't think the stores were going to be able to just start making worse ones and charging me for them. Like, they should have just said no plastic bags, period. But I don't know. That's just me. This is actually a close one for me, because they both piss me off. But I think I'll probably have to go with nurses and techs. I think bad healthcare in general, whether it's a nurse or a doctor or anything, is just like, ugh. Yeah.
So did we all say nurses? The burses?
Yeah, I think burses is the winner.
All burses.
Which means
Meshyf all get debated.
Yeah, Meshyf likes to debate us. But we'll see. Maybe he'll be on our side. So we're at 436. Hopefully all you out there were playing along. Maybe you have your opinions on this, but we're gonna hit play here in a second and see what Meshyf has to say. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, on go. 1, 2, 3, go.
Welcome back. Let's get started and see what's going on with our beef giveaway. Now, if you don't remember from last week, we had a little bit of a lull.
I love this fucking
break from the
sweatshirt.
podcast. So what I want to do is I want to extend it for one more podcast. Go on Twitter at me at Meshyf TV hashtag hit the bucket, one or the other. I want to see what your biggest beef of the week is, and the best beef of the week is gonna get their very own beef hoodie. That's right, a very own Sheaf Beef hoodie. Now, let's see which is the biggest beef this week, and the winner is
Versus.
the bad nurses. You are the biggest beef of the week. When you have a good nurse, god damn, thank them for their service, because a good nurse will take a bad experience and make it kind of okay, right? Something bad going on in your life, man, can they make a huge difference. But that bad nurse, that burst, he or she can really just destroy you. Just make it terrible. So, when you get a good nurse, let them know they're doing a good job. Thank them for their service. And when you get a bad nurse, just say, hey, Burse, go get another nurse. I don't like you. And that's why, Burses, you are the biggest beef of the week.
All right, there it is. So he's extending the contest, and he is a man of his word. If you so Meshyf, question for you. You said you want people to tweet at you what their biggest beef is. Are you talking about from the ones that we've done, or just anything? Like, do you just want them to tweet at you like their biggest complaint in general? Like, are you looking for ideas for beefs? Is that what it? Any biggest beef? Okay. So yeah, if you have any complaints, big or small, something that just chaps your hide, and you want Meshyf to maybe include it in one of his Sheaf's Beef episodes, and like I said, he's done everything from dirty diapers to littering to sinks to doors to bad nurses, as we've seen this week. What are some of the other ones he's done? There's been fireworks versus illegal fireworks. I mean, there's been many good Sheaf's Beef episodes. So if you have something that pisses you off and you want to tweet at him and explain what it is and why, you have the chance to win a beef hoodie. He bought them. He know the quality looks pretty good. Legit, he'll mail you one. So at Meshyf TV and hashtag hit the bucket and let him know. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna enter myself. Am I allowed to enter?
Get some stuff. I don't know. That hoodie is dope, man.
There's no disclaimer against it.
Dude, I would love to go to a family dinner in that shit, man. Explain to my relatives, yo, I got a fucking beef hoodie.
It's pretty cool. All right. Well, we're towards the end of our show, but there were a couple just little quick hitters I wanted to bring up, things that have happened this week in the news. Some trends that I've noticed. The biggest one that popped up just recently, I kind of wanted your opinion on this. The president of the United States called the CEO of Apple Tim Apple.
Mm-hmm.
In front,
right next to Bill Microsoft.
Bill Microsoft and James Taxes and Jimmy Buckets and Larz Barfs.
I can't really. So initially, I read this and I was like, "What a dumbass!" And then I had a moment of self introspection, right? Or that's redundant. Just introspection in general, right? And I realized this is the kind of fuck up that I would do. I was like,
"That's fair. That's honest."
Yeah, I can't laugh at this and sleep at night. So,
but the fact that it was caught, I mean, on camera in front of all of these very powerful
sitting
people
right next to him.
Yeah, he looks him right in the face and calls him Tim Apple.
Because I could forgive it if he's like giving it like a speech or just like saying something to a group of people, and then Tim Cook isn't there and he refers to him as Tim Apple, but to have him right next to him in person,
look him right in the eyes and call him Tim Apple. I want to play the clip.
We appreciate it very much, Tim Apple.
We appreciate it very much, Tim Apple. Jesus.
Tim Apple.
Mm-hmm.
It's so
That's
bad.
like if we're at TwitchCon 2019, or in your case 2020.
Oh, don't remind me.
I've been meeting Jimmy, great friend all these years. Jimmy Buckets, I appreciate you. And then everyone's just like, James, what the hell?
Then it's pretty gnarly that our president is capable of such things. I don't know. I feel like we're allowed to hold him to a slightly higher standard, right?
I mean, I think we should. We should for sure. I mean, it's like so. I make this mistake all the time where I flip the beginning two letters of a sentence. So like if we're gonna say like, oh shit, what's like something recent that I've done? It's a thing that I do all the time. Like if in the sense like Jimmy Buckets, I would say Bimmy Juckets. Like I see that on accident all the time.
Do you know what the technical term for that is?
It's what?
It's called a spoonerism. It's an actual thing.
Really?
Yeah. So like for example, there's fun ones too. Like longboard is a bong lord.
Bong Lord.
Yeah,
all about
Lord of the Bong.
Yeah,
Lord.
you can go online and Google fun spoonerisms. It's a whole
spoonerisms.
thing.
Yeah, no, I do that all the time. So something like that with like and weird word or like just like misnomers for shit. Like that's my jam. That's my shtick, man. I do that.
Yeah, like Nimmy Javio and
Nimmy Javio.
Yeah,
sucking flaps.
Sucking flaps. Yeah, that one's a good one. What's the other one? Fam Damley.
Fam Danley.
Fam Damley. Come meet my
Hold
whole.
this up. I didn't know that was a thing called spoonerism.
Come meet my whole fam Damley.
Fam Danley.
Yeah, it's like I heard the word spoonerism before. I didn't know that's what it was.
Yep.
I thought it was just when you spooned somebody real good.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is because me and my friend used to make a hobby out of that. Bong Lord was one of our favorites back in the day. We used to try and find fun ones to switch the
You wanna ride the Bong Lord today?
Yeah, bro. Let's do it. Another thing that I kind of just wanted your guys' opinion on was, so for those who don't know, I am a Weezer fan. I am one of those hipster dudes who swears that their first couple albums are the best. I'm a huge fan of the Blue Album and Pinkerton. Everything in between is good. There's some gems in there, but like I can put Pinkerton on and listen to that album on repeat forever. But they just came out with a new album. It is the Black Album, and a lot of people are saying that they're trying to go back to some of their like OG kind of songwriting, whatever. And one of the ways that they decided to promote their new album was to create an island in the creative mode on Fortnite. So I don't know if this was like a cross promotion. I don't know if they approached. I'm curious to see the backstory on this, but somehow or another, Weezer got their so much fucking cringe. Well, we have Meshyf's opinion in chat. He thinks it's cringeworthy. Some people think it's Weezer grasping to remain relevant. I don't know. For me, the discussion that I'm interested in is how this looks moving forward. As these game engines become so iterative, right? Like Fortnite updates so often that they're able to do this stuff so quickly. I think we may end up seeing a lot more of this in the future, right? These opportunities where big companies or bands or especially things that have a media element to them. Like recently in Fortnite, wasn't there there was a full blown like EDM, like,
yeah, Marshmello had a full concert.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that the difference there is like the EDM genre has kind of maybe this is a wrong kind of stereotype, but I feel like it's gone hand in hand with a lot of like younger ages of gaming, like the generation.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So like Fortnite's audience primarily is people that are waiting on puberty to hit. So like having that kind of like appeal makes sense. I think that a lot of it probably does come down to like some promotional value, right? Like, and I don't know, maybe when you actually said that it could possibly, people are saying that it kind of seems like Weezer's grasping at straws. It does make it smell a little like desperate a little bit, but I don't know because it also like, what's the saying? Like any exposure is good exposure to some extent. Like,
right. We're talking about it on a podcast. So.
Yeah,
we are.
So, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Weezer's also been kind of known for being a little like maybe not unorthodox, but a little bit like counterculture, but also relevant, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, they finally, after years of being tweeted at, covered the song Africa, right? Like,
Right.
they're kind of connected to the whole social media whatever, and then they realized,
But on
oh
their own
shit,
terms.
right? Well, and then they realized, oh shit, this Africa cover did really well, and then they came out with a whole album of covers. So it's like,
Yeah.
I mean,
If one works, why not do more?
yeah. So I don't know. Meshyf says, I hope this is some record exec going, my kids like Fortnite thing. Get that Weezer in there. Yeah, who knows? I'm really curious to see how it came about. I'd like to hear the back end dealings of how it happened. Was it Fortnite coming to Weezer? I'm guessing most likely it was Weezer approached Fortnite, but
I'm probably saying like, oh, well, you had a concert with Marshmello. Like, can we work out something similar?
yeah.
Because this is like a lot like bigger in scope than the Marshmello thing. Because when Marshmello did it, it was just like a week. There was like some in-game posters that like advertised.
Yeah,
the
it was a
concert.
one-time thing.
And then they had like some weekly challenges you could do, and then they had the Marshmello skin. They didn't, and then they just like repurposed an area. They didn't have a whole area just dedicated to Marshmello like they do here for Weezer.
Well, and here's I guess my concern with it is it's fine for me if it's in creative mode and it's just some like island, right? So it's not like it's not part of the main gameplay of the game. My concern is it starts here, but eventually if this starts to work and they see, oh, numbers went up, or oh, we got so many, click throughs, or look at how much attention we're getting from this island or whatever, and it becomes more prevalent that it starts to leak into gameplay, like core gameplay, right? Like I really don't want to be forced to listen to Weezer music or look at posters or like obviously promotional material when I'm like running through a single player game or I'm doing a scrim, or and some of that stuff does happen now, but right now it's mostly relevant, right? So like for example in Counter-Strike, it was very common for a lot of the custom maps that are used by competitive organizations. They'll have their own version of the map that'll have like banners on the walls, like in the level, right? So it'll say like CPL whatever, like on the wall or whatever in the map, because that's relevant. But like if money talks, I'm worried about just random shit being thrown into games and it turning into like a Walmart experience when you play games, because people are like, hey, look how fast they can update these games now. I'm just going to pay them to have a whole Weezer section of level 3 in this game. Like I really don't want that to become a thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I already have a huge problem when I go to a fucking like some sort of game news website. There's numbers of them, and they're just, it's a plethora of ads, and it's like painful to even scroll through, let alone so like I don't want that to continue to infiltrate like forums in which we're just trying to play games. I don't want to, I don't think anybody really wants to experience that.
Yeah.
So hopefully it stays somewhat separate to some extent.
Med packs and Overwatch or Taco Bell Fiesta packs. Nice. Yeah.
It might not be that far away, because I remember reading, because I own some shares of stock in Activision Blizzard, so I like to take a look at their financial statements. And one of the big things they highlighted was like, hey, we have a market of people spending like probably on average an hour a day playing our games, and that's prime advertising space. And I was just like, you keep that in mobile games. I don't want my like multiplayer experience to be like what you're describing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it doesn't go that far. And again, if it's relevant to the game, like if they put real ads and billboards in Grand Theft Auto, that's fine, because that's what you would expect. Like, if you're trying to emulate the real world, you would expect to see movie ads and Gillette razor ads or whatever on billboards in real life when you're driving down the street. That's cool. I don't mind that. But when you start incorporating it into the game, that, I don't know, that's where it starts to get kind of
Jimmy, take this PepsiCo assault rifle. It's powered through Mountain Dew cartridges.
Yeah, that completely breaks immersion, right? Like that
Yeah.
gaming is supposed to be an escape from the real world, not like another opportunity for you to fucking spew your shit at me.
Yeah, especially when it's like that blatant, because you can see it a lot in movies where all of a sudden, like I remember the Transformers one was something people always point out because there was a part where they figure out like what the Transformers are made of. They're like, we could make it turn into anything, and what does it turn into? Beats by Dre Pill. Thanks for taking me out of the movie.
Yeah, no, it's gotten pretty blatant in movies already. And I really hope that doesn't start happening in games. Like all the fucking blatant, whenever a car rolls up in a movie, and if you don't notice this, you're going to notice it after I say it. Pay attention anytime a car rolls up in any movie where the camera is placed. It's placed at bumper level so that you can see the fucking branding on the front of the car. As soon as it turns into frame, you're going to see what car it is, whether it's a Chevy, a Toyota, whatever it is. It's very intentionally shot so that you always see the branding on the car, and it breaks immersion. It's like, okay, cool, yeah, it's a Chevy. Fucking thanks, but it's gotten better in movies actually than it used to be. They actually passed laws because it got so bad. Like the movie Mac and Me was basically a giant commercial for McDonald's and Coca-Cola. It was Mac and Me was an old ripoff from like it came out shortly after E.T. and they were trying to like ride the popular wave of like little kid meets alien and tries to save alien, and it's like a blatant ripoff. But there's a whole dance scene that takes place in the middle of a McDonald's in the movie. It's like
God, this sounds so fucking cringe.
It's a 20-minute scene.
Oh,
It's a actual movie, and they there's a Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode where they watch it.
Oh, perfect.
And they just they rip it a new asshole. It's called Mac and Me, and I definitely, if you like if you want to watch some cringe B movie shit, watch that movie because it is just
all right.
It's every single shot has product placement in it, and. And so, yeah, I think they eventually they like passed some laws about like, and then there's also laws about kids shows that they can't make kids shows just for promotion. Like, I think they're pretty, we have laws that don't let you do what they do in Japan, right? Where they design a show specifically to sell a toy, right? Because it became a problem back in like the G.I. Joe days and stuff.
Oh yeah, right. It was big. There's still a little bit of that, like even in Japan today, where it's like, oh, this anime based on the video game, and it's like it's advertising for the game.
Yeah, it's obvious. I mean,
stands on its own though.
Like Beyblade and Yu-Gi-Oh and like
Bakugan.
All of those shows.
I had a whole case of Bakugan, and it's just glorified marbles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was it. On one last thing I did want to mention on a more serious note, unless you guys are up to date on very current events, if anyone out there hasn't heard, there was some sad news today that Alex Trebek actually released a video announcing that he has stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And I was really bummed to hear that. I've grown up my entire life, he's been on TV, right? Like I can't think of someone other than maybe Bob Barker that I've seen on TV more. Every morning when I'd wake up, I'd sleep in during the summers when I'd stay with my grandparents, and I'd wake up and I'd sleep in the basement and I'd wake up and go upstairs to the living room, and my grandpa would watch Price is Right, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, and he's always, even in my relationship with my current fiance, we're huge Jeopardy fans. I was a huge fan of Ken Jennings because I was Mormon at the time. For those who don't know, Ken Jennings was the Mormon guy who won. He holds the record for most consecutive wins when they changed the rules about how many times you were allowed to win, and they removed the limit. He crushed any record, and no one's even come close. So like, I've been a huge Jeopardy fan for a very long time, and I was super sad to hear that news. Pancreatic cancer has like a 1% survival rate, so it's
I had it, and it sucks.
It's pretty sad. So hopefully, he said he's going to fight it in his video. He straight up was like, I'm going to do everything I can to fight it. I'm going to keep doing the show. And he even made a joke, which was cool. He was like, I'm still in contract to do 2 more years of the show. So, he made light of it and everything. But man, I mean, he's been a huge part of our lives. Even if he hasn't been a part of your life, he probably has, even if you didn't realize it. So, Jeopardy's.
Have you ever watched SNL and the Connery jokes towards I remember
I'll take anal bum cover for 300.
Your mother for back.
Those are great skits. It's such a part of the American lexicon, right? Like Jeopardy's just been there forever. So it's so crazy to hear that. So I just, I wanted to mention that and express my appreciation for that show and for everything that he's done. That show it'll never be the same. Even if they do attempt to replace him, they probably won't get rid of Jeopardy, but he's one of those guys that, he's irreplaceable. He's been doing it for so long, and he is the face of that show. So
as long as they don't put Drew Carey on there,
yeah. Drew's done all right, but he's no Bob Barker, man. I don't know.
No way.
So some of those old game show icons, man, they're one of a kind. They've got that old kind of, and the funny thing is like sometimes they're like, I love how it's dying now. Like when you look at Bob Barker, you look at Alex Trebek, you look at David Letterman, they're all just these like very opinionated old dudes who just don't give a shit. Like some of the stuff Alex Trebek would say to the guests, I'm like, damn, dude, like he was savage sometimes. And just I feel like you don't get that as much anymore. Everyone's so like soft and fluffy and like smiley and I don't know. I kind of like the edgier, older hosts of the shows. They're just like
they had that like old man spite.
The only one left
like
is
that grumpy ass. Like I'm here because I have to be.
Like, I'm contracted,
and I'm gonna do that. This is my show, kind of attitude. But all at the same time, being a little bit of a gentleman underneath it all.
The only 2 left are Alex Trebek and Pat Sajak, dude. Pat Sajak can be savage too, dude. He's so, I mean, and for those who don't know, Pat Sajak is the host of Wheel of Fortune.
Yep. He still hosts it, right?
Yeah,
he does.
God, he's gonna be getting old.
Yeah, they're all getting up there. So you're kind of seeing the end of it. It's going to be a few more years. It's going to be the end of that generation. Vanna White's still doing it. Yeah.
Oh, she's gonna be old too.
Yeah,
she's still hot.
she's not bad. There's definitely some work done, but she's still rocking it. Anyway, I hope nothing but the best for Alex Trebek. I don't want to end on a sad note. I did just want to mention that, and I didn't want to make a bunch of jokes about it. I know we've had a lot of fun tonight, but I just heard that today, and I felt it was worth saying that. Like, hopefully things go well, and he can fight it. There is a chance. People do fight it, so we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So, Larz, what you doing,
Jimmy.
man? You got anything coming up? Anything exciting? Got any charity events? Anything you want to plug? Any special streams? You got like a birthday stream or any marathons coming up? Anything exciting?
Yeah. Well, so still going on with Breath of the Wild for a while. It's gonna be like, I think it'll be a staple for a while.
Are you doing like a completionist type thing? You trying to get a bunch of stuff?
I don't know that I'll do 100%.
Every Korok seed.
Oh, no way.
All 682.
I could do maybe enough for the upgrades because there's some after, like, so you need X amount for, I think you need like 400 or something for like maximum upgrades, but I don't know if I really want to do that even because I like, as long as I have sufficient upgrades and I feel good about ending the game, I'd be happy. A lot of the just like the base content with DLC and quests and the shrines, like those are things that I definitely want to complete. That'll kind of be like on the docket. I'm trying to play it more off stream too, just to get some stuff done. And then
that game's a beast, man. I actually own it, and I keep having to come back to it because there's just like so much content.
There is, yeah. I'm having a blast with it though, so that's like I that's fine with me. But this Sunday I'm co-streaming with Travoni. And he's in here. I think he might still be here. And we're gonna play through Blacklist, Splinter Cell Blacklist, which would be a lot of fun.
That would be cool.
That'll be at 5 p.m.
on your channel.
On both of ours.
Oh,
I think
okay.
We're both
It's
gonna be
a
streaming. I'm
co-stream,
pretty sure.
Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I understand that, but I was just,
Yeah.
is that feature out yet, by the way?
With the squad streaming,
Yeah.
no, not yet, because it was announced at TwitchCon, and I think they said first quarter, so it's got to be soon. But I don't know, maybe they didn't say first quarter, and I'm imagining that being
Or
hopeful.
maybe they're just like in the process of rolling it out.
Yeah.
That's a feature that I'm really excited about personally, because I think one of the biggest struggles with co-streaming anything right now is that like unity between both channels, and not that like the communities can be really cohesive, right? But just the fact that there's two separate channels with two different forms of latency,
Right.
it's not always synced, and like juggling the conversation between you, the person, and also the other community is like, and your community, it's a lot. So I think the squad streaming will help streamline a lot of that to make it cleaner for not only the user experience but also the broadcasters, a little less stress.
Yeah.
stressful.
Yeah, I think that's like one of the ways that Mixer's kind of in ahead of the game, because that is one
Probably-
feature
yeah.
that they do really well, is that the multi-streaming stuff they do.
Yeah, but I hate the UI of Mixer personally.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not.
Granted,
There's definitely things to dislike about
Yeah.
Mixer, but they kind of came out the gate with that co-streaming feature.
Yeah. Granted, the Twitch backend is kind of shoddy at times too, because we know that there's a plethora of issues with Twitch itself, but I think that the general populace, when they're going to watch a live stream, comes to Twitch. So I've always stuck with it. I had some friends that switched over to Mixer, and I had no interest in doing that when people were jumping ship. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay on Twitch. It's fun for me. It's good.
So you got that co-stream coming up. Your channel. What's your schedule?
I stream Sunday through Thursday. Sunday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Central to 1 a.m. So I do
All right.
stream full time.
And that's over at twitch.tv/LARZ. Dude, that's such a
Correct, yeah.
great name.
Yeah, you should hear this. So my username used to be Larzosaurus Rex, hence the dinosaur.
Oh yeah,
So-
we never asked you about the dinosaur.
Yeah, his name is Rex. So when I dropped the length of the name back down to just to Larz, because a lot of people just called me Larz to begin with, and a lot of
It's
people
a
thought that
mouthful.
way. Yeah, because Larzosaurus Rex was awful. A lot of people called me like Lazarus, and people called me Lazuli, and all these different like variants of it, and I just liked Larz, and it just that just kind of became the name that people knew me as. And when I dropped it, I was like, well, what do I do about this whole dinosaur thing? How do I include that in my branding? Because I'm not still like Rex, Larzosaurus Rex. So I've just nicknamed the dinosaur Rex, and he has stuck with us. So
Very cool.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. That was hopefully you had a good time. You are now officially a Hit the Bucket alum. And
I have hit the bucket, boys.
You'll be receiving our letters in the mail about asking for some some alumni payments to
Yeah.
keep it going, the hosting fees, of course.
yeah, now you're alumni. We can
Oh,
start
it's-
hitting you up for donations.
Yo, no, I appreciate it, guys. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, I've had a great time. It's really good. It's been
So,
great.
our new tradition that we started, I think we might have started this tradition with Merlin, maybe. Was she the first one that we started doing this with? Anyway, we have a new tradition that we started a few podcasts ago where our guest actually gets to recommend someone to raid or host.
Oh.
So if
To
there's...
hold?
Yeah.
To hold?
To hold in our hand.
To hold. I was trying to say host and raid at the same time.
You know,
I said hold.
a Hade. Let's go hate him right
Let's
now.
go hate them.
Let's go road him.
Let's go ride them.
I rode all over him. Yeah, if there's someone that you think would be
Ride them home.
fun to dump our podcast community on.
Yeah, let me take a peek. Let me take a peek and a gander and a look and a see.
Go say hi, drop some buckets.
Yeah.
I know it's a little late, so sometimes it's...
No, it's okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to find the best. around. Nothing's ever gonna keep you down.
So any other than Zelda, do you have any other plans for any other games, or is there anything coming out you're excited about?
I've set up for Death Stranding. That'll be a lot of fun. This year, I don't know. I mean, like, I think there's a lot of this year. I feel like there's less releases I'm excited about. At least some AAA titles.
Well, you played Dark Souls. Are you looking forward to Sekiro?
Sekiro, I'm excited for. Yeah, Sekiro, I am excited for, and I think that'll be a good experience.
There's some new Pokemon game. I'm not really a Pokemon guy, but
the new Pokemon. I haven't played Pokemon since Ruby and Sapphire, and I never even finished them, and went back and played it when I picked up a Switch. I played Let's Go and realized that I missed out on a lot. So I want to pick up the new one too. And there's a couple other ones like Hollow Knight sequel, Ori and the Blind Forest sequel.
Ooh, the Ori sequel, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Will of the Wisp is what I think it's called, right?
I just saw a trailer I saw like a video or a GIF or a trailer or something for a game today called Recompile. I don't know too much about it, but it looked really cool. So I'm probably gonna next podcast. After I do some research, I might have to talk about that one. It looked really interesting.
Yeah. How about I got a guy for you. You want me to shoot his link over to you?
Yeah. If you just want to put his name in chat, I can. I have my raid up and ready. I just got to dump the name in there.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I vouch for him. I've met him through a couple of different folks. His name's Wix, Wix Life. He's a really sweet old boy. I can't say anything bad about him at all. He's a good guy. You guys will probably like him.
All right, Larz. Well, thank you again for being here.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind just sticking around on the call for a couple minutes afterward, we usually take a couple pictures for like the thumbnails. I'll do a couple little screen caps.
Okay.
Cool. James, any last words? Anything you got going on?
Normally, no, but I do actually I'm scheduled to stream some Minion Masters this Friday at 7 p.m. EST, and I'll be featured on the Steam store page.
Ooh,
oh, cool.
On the Steam store page. There you go.
Nice.
Pushing some promotion this weekend, and they were like, James, we need someone to fill this time slot. And I was like, I'll do it for you guys.
They didn't ask me because I stopped. I like completely dropped off the planet in their community. That's awesome, dude. I'm happy for you. That'll be cool. When is that again?
So this Friday at 7 p.m. EST.
EST. So that would be 4?
Mm-hmm. For
Pacific. Awesome. I will check it out if I can. All right, guys, have a good night. Thank you, everyone from Larz community that came over to my channel to enjoy the podcast. This will go up on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, all that stuff, probably sometime later this week. It usually takes us a few days to edit everything and get it up, but I'll make sure I give those links to Larz so he can share them with y'all.
Cool.
And we'll hopefully be hanging out with more folks from the Clever Nation community in the future.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check another one off my lists.
Hey.
All right, have a good night, everyone.